Thanks for joining me for the next real world mile per gallon test. And this time we have the all new for 2024 Mazda CX-90 PHEV, which means plug-in hybrid for those that didn't know. It is also the Premium Plus package. Now we will be running this in normal mode, which means it will prioritize the EV when it can, the electric part when it can, and use the gas engine with acceleration and only when necessary. So we'll get to see how that functions. All of these function a little bit different. This functions a little bit different than the Hyundai, and it also functions different than the Toyota and the Honda. So we'll just have to see how this works out. Let's take a quick look at this real quick because I'm sure a lot of you have not seen this yet. We'll run through it, and then we'll head to the gas station. So let's check it out. So the first thing I notice is this big front beefy stance that this car has. Of course, you have LED lighting all around. Fog lights are integrated into the LED lights up top. This is a 3-row SUV, so it is a rather longer SUV, full-size SUV. Very nice inside and out. Let's go take a look at the back real quick. That up, and there you go. You can see it is rather large in here. Pretty good size. That's with the 3rd row down, and with the 3rd row up, you can see it's gonna come up to about right here. So decent amount of space actually behind where the 3rd row would be sitting. So that's pretty cool. All right. It goes down. Take a look at the back seats real quick. All right, there's your seating area in the back. Decent amount of room back here. I believe when I tested this in earlier March at a media event, I think I had about 2 or 3 inches of knee room back here, so it's pretty nice. And up front, this has the black interior with looks like a beige trim or beige stitching going throughout. It's got a standard Mazda steering wheel. Hasn't changed. Very easy to learn how to use. There is your full digital instrument panel. Got leather seats with the tan or beige stitching and a stripe running down the middle. It's pretty nice. They are fully powered with lumbar. I got a standard glove box, a couple of cup holders. These are one of our favorites. These split armrests are really nice because the other person can still have their arm on it and you can still access what you need to get. It's pretty cool. All right, that's it. Let's head to the gas station. Let's get her filled up, get her topped off, and let's get this test started. Okay, we are here at the Casey's here in town, and we're gonna fill up right now. One thing that I did notice is it does say premium recommended, so that is what we will put in. Not sure how that one sits in there, but all right, so we're gonna go with the premium. We got premium going right now. Should be just about full. I haven't driven it much yet. You can see we are on premium, and it just shut itself off at $1.20. So now we have a top off. We'll pull 3, 4, 5, and that's it. So we are $2.13. So it took me about a half a gallon of gas to fill this up. So I kind of expected not to have to put much in it right now. But that's what we've got. So we are filled up and we're topped off, and it took about 5 seconds on the top off. So we'll use that later. So we are going to reset, and you want to look right here. This is what's going to change. You can see we have EV mile at 22. We did start with 26. But it took a little bit getting up here because it does prioritize the battery. You can see the battery level is right here, gas level is right here, and you got miles per gallon here and your miles per kilowatt hour right there. It's pretty cool. You got all that information right on that screen. And on this side, we have power. So this is going to be your EV to start out with, and once you get past this line, it's going to engage the engine. So that's what we're going to be watching too. We're going to try to just drive normally and see what we get. So let's reset, hold that down. Everything's cleared and we are ready to take off. So let's get going. If this is your first time with us, I'm going to run down the parameters of this test. So first, we set the tire pressure to the manufacturer spec. Second, we go in and we fill it up with gas. Then we do a top off, and we count that top off just in case we don't get the exact same pump. So that way, the top off is exactly the same when we refill. And then we're going to run 100 miles. Next, we are going to drive in normal mode how the vehicle goes when you first get in. This does not have a designated hybrid mode on it. So we're going to be in normal mode. Normal mode prioritizes the electric battery first, and then it will engage the engine. If you accelerate hard enough to engage the engine, it will engage, which is different than the EV mode, which runs on electric only until you completely run out. Now, the other thing that we are doing, because this is a real world test, so we got normal mode, we have 5 miles per hour over the speed limit, because that's what everybody drives, at least 5 miles per hour over. Well, not everyone, but most people. That is the poll that I got, said most people drove 5 miles per hour over the limit. So we're going to do that in town, on the highway and interstate. So on the highway and interstate, you're looking at 60 miles an hour on the highway, 75 on the interstate, and then in town it'll be 5 miles per hour over whatever the posted speed is. There's 2 towns that we're going to enter, and when we go into those 2 towns, each one we will make a loop through that town, because that is going to replicate our city driving. And then on the way back, we'll do those same loops in reverse order. We'll also be on the interstate for about 20 miles, somewhere around there. So that gives you some interstate driving, some highway driving, and some city driving. So that's about as close as we can get to a real world number. And then we will compare it to what the EPA says the car should be able to do, what Mazda says on the dashboard what the miles per gallon is, and then we'll use a calculator to do it old school and tell you what the real world mile per gallon is. And hopefully, if everybody is right, then we should come out pretty close to the same. So I will update you guys along the way as we enter and exit each town and the interstate and back off the interstate, and then on the way back. And then when we get back to the gas station, we'll look at how many miles we drove. Should be just a little over 100, and what our mile per gallon says from Mazda. And then we'll get some calculations and give you guys the real world mile per gallon. So I will see you in just a little bit. All right, so as you can see, we are entering our first town. And so far, we look down here, got some railroad tracks. We are running at 2.2 miles per kilowatt hour, and we have nothing for miles per gallon because this has been running on electric the entire time. And if you look down at the bottom of the screen, it says there's 15 miles left. And so that's where we're at right now. We do not have a mile per gallon average yet. Just pretty cool. So we're going to make the loop through this town and then back out on the highway, and we will check in then. All right, so we are out of town now. You can see the heads-up display. Look how great that looks. You can read that really clear. So you can see we're going 60. You got 55 miles per hour is the speed limit. You see the vehicle in front of you, driver assistance. So right now we're at 2.3 miles per kilowatt hour. We still have not used the engine. It's down to 10 miles of range left down there at the bottom of the screen. We also have this screen over here that we can take a look at. This is something you can kind of monitor as you're driving. So you can see that it says 2.2 on this current drive, and you saw the display in the center said 2.3. So I'm not sure which one is completely accurate, but there's nothing we can do about that. They're completely different. That's all we got right now. So when I get to the next town, as we start to come into the next town, I will give you guys an update, and in a little while I'll give you guys a little bit more information about this Mazda CX-90 if you're considering purchasing one, so you want to stay tuned for that. So I will talk to you guys in just a few minutes. Okay, we are coming into our next town, and we will make a loop through this town also before we head up on the interstate. And right now we are using the engine. We have depleted the battery so far. Right now it's registering 80 miles per gallon, 2.3 miles per kilowatt hour. And you see at the bottom of the screen, there's no battery power left. So all we get from the battery, is regen. So when we do brake, you do get regen in this, and it is set on the highest setting. And I don't know if it'll regen enough to engage the electric drive system, but we will keep an eye out on that, and I'll let you know if it does. This is a pretty cool one too. You can have this up while you're driving, let you know where the power is coming from. So right now you see it's coming from the engine. It's not powering the battery, which there is a setting that you can charge the battery as you drive if you want. You will lose some miles per gallon in that case, but that's kind of up to you on what you want to do. And then we can go up here, and you can see right now it's saying 99.9 miles per gallon because it doesn't register any higher than that. And of course we went way over that because we drove for 25 miles or so on just electric. So I will update you before we get on the interstate. We're coming up on where we're gonna get on the interstate. We made our loop through the city. So far you can see, actually I'll put you over here, 2.6 miles per kilowatt hour and 81.7 miles per gallon. So that's what we got going on right now, and it actually did engage the electric engine a couple times while I was driving through town. It got just enough to like get me to the next light without using any gas. So that made a huge difference in there. That resulted in that 2.6 miles per kilowatt hour. And plus, when you're using the gasoline, then it makes the battery numbers look better. We're going to accelerate on the interstate very generously, just like everybody does. Get up to speed. And we will get locked in at 75. All right, one more. All right. So there you go, 75 miles per hour. You can see it also on the heads-up display, which is pretty cool. It actually showed the stop signs on there as we were going. And here's what we're at right now, 74.3 miles per gallon. So I'll update you when we get to our turnaround point, and we'll take a look at things there. And after we get back on the interstate and start heading back. Okay, we are coming up on our exit. It's a nice cemetery right off the interstate. We're going to get off right here. It says Paris Arcola. And of course we are getting some regen coming down off of that ramp, which is really helpful for our battery. That'll give us some juice later on. Come up here, and all we're going to do is make a loop right back onto the interstate. It's a pretty good area because there's usually not a lot of traffic. You're a couple cars coming right now, but usually we don't have that problem. Okay, here we go. We're just going to turn around and go right back down on the interstate. And of course, when we get straightened out here, we will accelerate generously. We all do it. You want to make sure you're up to speed when you get onto the interstate, so here we go. And there we go. We are locked in. You can see heads-up display is awesome. It shows a lot of information. And we've got 51.4, 50.3 is what we've got. So that's where we're at. We're heading back, and I will catch up with you guys here in a little bit. I'm going to give you a little more information about this CX-90, and then I will talk to you as soon as we get ready to get off the interstate. So, see you in a bit. We've already talked about it, and this is the 2024 Mazda CX-90 plug-in hybrid, and it is brand new for 2024. This is a brand new model, and it is Mazda's first hybrid. So that's saying something. They are working on moving towards electrification. They do have a lot of stuff coming up on the horizon. So this one has a combined, I believe it's 330 horsepower, somewhere in there, with the electric drive motors and the internal combustion engine. It does work very, very well. I like that they have made the electric drive I like that they have this set up to use the electric mostly first before engaging the internal combustion engine, which is really nice. Hyundai does the same thing, does a really similar thing, except for one thing. They actually, you really have to get into the throttle on a Hyundai to get it to activate the gas engine when you're on a plug-in hybrid. It will run straight electric at almost full throttle. This one is close, but it does engage earlier on normal mode. Now, the EV mode, it won't engage at all. I think that it really should wait to engage longer, maybe. But that also depends on power. So you just really don't know for sure what kind of power it's going to be needing at that moment. So we'll have to you just have to kind of go off of that. This is set up as similar to the CX-50 that we did a review on earlier. The interior looks almost identical to it, except I think the screen might be a little bit bigger, but everything else works exactly the same way. The ride is very, very good. And of course, everything laid out here is exactly the way Mazda always does it. Always sets everything up the exact same way, and it's really easy to know what you need to do in this car. We're cruising along on the interstate right now. We've already driven over 50 miles. We're right around probably 60 miles now, and we're averaging 45.6 miles per gallon, and the first part of that was about 23 miles, maybe 24 miles of electric only. Now that's what the car had left on it, or the SUV had left on it, but we drove farther than that because we drove around town in the city and got some regenerative braking, and it's engaged a couple different times. Even after the battery was depleted, it engaged because the regen gave it enough to get engaged. So I think we're going to do really well on this average. I think it's going to probably exceed what the EPA says. Hopefully Mazda is pretty accurate, and we'll just have to see where we're at on that. But this is a very nice three-row vehicle if that's something that you're looking at, and you're going to be looking at probably topping out somewhere around 58 to 62, somewhere in that range. I don't have my sheet with me to tell you exactly how much this one is, but watch my full review and I will go over all of that stuff. We also will have a family review, and I will have one special thing on this that I do with plug-in hybrids, electric only range test. So far I've only had one other one, and that was the Hyundai Santa Fe plug-in hybrid, and it was rated at 30 miles and it got 33. So we're gonna run it on the same cycle as that one and see what we come up with this one. Will it do better than 26 miles? I don't know. But so that's just a little bit more information about this car, about Mazda, and that's all I'm going to give you guys right now. Is you guys don't want any more than that. You want to see some numbers. You want to see what the mile per gallon is going to be. So I'm going to throw you back to, well, myself and update you as we get off the interstate. So thanks for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, and I will see you in just a few minutes. Okay, I am coming up on our exit here in Mattoon Charleston exit. Let's take a quick look. What we've got going is 43 miles per gallon right now, and we've probably driven about 65 miles or so, somewhere in that range. So we're going to get off the interstate right now. We're going to go back through town, and we are going to do that loop again in the reverse order. And then we will check back in, see where we're at as we head out of town. So we are getting some regen going right now, and we can use a little bit of battery through the city. I will update you as soon as we head out of town. All right, we are heading out of town, and look at that sky. Is that not awesome? That is so cool. All right, we're heading out of town, and we've made our loop through. We are looking at 42 miles per gallon, 3.1 miles per kilowatt hour is what it's coming out to. So that's all we got right now. We're getting ready to hit the highway, so we will go back up to 60. One more look at that awesome sky. It's just beautiful. All right, I will catch up with you guys at the next town. Okay, we are coming back into town now. Let's take a look at what we've got going on. We're losing some light, and right now we are at 40 miles per gallon. So that's what we're doing right now. We are in this town where we are going to make a loop around this town in the reverse order that we did earlier, and then we will be headed out of town and back to the gas station, and we'll get this test wrapped up. So I will update you as we are leaving town and right as we get to the gas station. Okay, we are out of town after completing our loop, and right now we are at 39.6 miles per gallon. So we're doing really well, and I will update you very shortly. We are headed back to the gas pumps right now, and we'll get filled up, we'll get some calculations and see what the real world mile per gallon is. Okay, we are coming around to the gas station. Looks like we will be able to get the same pump that we had, so we shouldn't have to worry about that. And we're gonna get pulled in here. Lost a lot of light, getting pretty dark. Hopefully you guys can see me okay the rest of this video. And we do have a panoramic roof, so we should get some light shining in here. Shouldn't be too bad. And right now, 38.9, and I will take a picture of that, and I will get our mileage here in just a second. I will have both of those on the screen when I do the numbers. We're gonna get her filled up, and like I said before, we do have to put premium in this. Well, it suggests premium, so we are going to put premium in it. And we are ready to get that, and we're gonna hit premium. Well, you know, it helps if you take the cap off first, right? So let's do that. And we can set this right up here. All right, now we're gonna go. All right, let's see what we get. Should only be about maybe 2 gallons. It sounds close. There it is, 2.350. So now we're gonna do our top off. which was 5 seconds last time. Get ready. There we are, 2.546. And in case you're wondering, right now, $4.44 for premium, $3.74. And that horrible sound was it trying to print the receipt, which we didn't have. So we'll have to snapshot that, put that up on the screen for you guys also. Let's get buttoned up and let's go run some numbers. Okay guys, so we had Mazda says 38.9. Of course, our EPA estimate said 25 miles per gallon just for the engine. Then with the MPGe, I think it was like 58 or something like that. So those numbers are really weird and funky, so we don't really pay attention to that. But this is going to be telling you what you can expect on a daily basis driving this car, plugging it in and charging it every night. And that way you have that electric power to go on. Now, you don't necessarily have to do that. You can use the engine to charge the battery if you choose to, but that's going to eat into your miles per gallon. So we are going to presume that you will plug it in every night and then take off driving. Now, we went 103 miles. We were going to divide 103 miles. So 103 miles divided by the 2.546 gallons, and that shows 40.4. So I'll make that bigger for you guys. 40.45, right? 40.45. And Mazda's gauge is saying 38.9. So really, the real world is higher than what Mazda is even stating. So that's pretty cool. That's a plus, getting better than what is expected or even what it tells you that you are getting. So awesome job, Mazda. It's better to be under than to be over and disappointed. So that's your number for the 2024 CX-90 all-wheel drive plug-in hybrid. Your real-world mile per gallon is 40.45. So there you have it. If you're not a subscriber, go ahead and click subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this. If you do, we do this with every vehicle we get, so you might want to subscribe and click the like button if you did like it. The next thing that you should do is click this video right up here. That is the full review of this CX-90. And then if you've already seen it, then click this other one down here, because that's probably what YouTube thinks that you might want to see, and you'll probably like it. At least I think you will. Anyway, I will see you in the next one.